Some people today actually in the news when it comes to the Senate healthcare bill are feeling pretty excited that Mitch McConnell is basically saying without saying that the odds aren't looking good for him. Some people getting very excited. I would say getting ahead of themselves because this thing is not dead. We saw the same thing happen with the House version of Trump Care. So I don't think anyone should get complacent just yet. They are still trying to strike some sort of deal, and they could come back from this resource with one of a variety of different deals. One that we're going to discuss on the show today has been proposed by Senator Ted Cruz. Now, he's one of the senators who hasn't yet signed on to the bill because he doesn't think that it's conservative enough. He doesn't think it does enough to destroy the protections and subsidies set up under the ACA. And so he's got a plan. And there's multiple aspects to it, but we're going to break down the core component, which is this. Under his plan, as long as a health plan offered at least one ObamaCare compliant plan in a state, the plan would also be allowed to offer non-ObamaCare compliant plans in that state. So what does that mean? Well, that means you could have plans that don't have to allow people with pre-existing conditions on, or plans that don't have to cover certain essential services, plans that theoretically would allow people with pre-existing conditions but would charge them far more for their health insurance, and that could come in a variety of different forms. But as long as you had that one plan that did things the way they're being done now, you could have all sorts of others. Now, on its surface, I think some people are going to see that and think, well, that seems kind of reasonable. That way, you can still get health insurance if you have a pre-existing condition. You can go on that one plan. Unfortunately, when you analyze it, it doesn't work out as rosily as Ted Cruz would have you believe. First of all, as the Obamacare markets have the people who need that plan so that they can get insurance go to it, those people necessarily will be more sick than the people who don't choose it, creating effectively high-risk pools in those Obamacare markets. So everything we have now would become a de facto high-risk pool. Inside of that, premiums would increase, and because those are the plans that would then be subsidized by the taxpayers, more and more money would have to go into those subsidies to keep things at parity right now. And it's likely that Republicans would not be willing to increase the subsidies along the way. But then think about this, what about for the people who still want those plans that actually provide coverage for a variety of essential services? They don't necessarily have a pre-existing condition, anything like that, but they want that plan. Well, those people theoretically are not going to receive subsidies from the government to stay on those plans, although the premiums will continue to rise. And so if you want health insurance that's actually worth something, under Ted Cruz's plan, you would end up spending far, far more.
So he calls this consumer freedom. Okay, so if you have a pre-existing condition, you're no longer guaranteed coverage, so you have the freedom to pay a ton more money. Yeah. If you splinter the different kinds of insurance you can get, so this is the Republican vision of the world, which is everybody in it for themselves. So if you're young and healthy, well, I don't need much insurance, and so you're gonna charge me less. I win. I was already winning, I win even more now, right? If you're older or you're sick or you have a pre-existing condition, well, you're gonna get charged much more money because the insurance is gonna say, why would I wanna cover you? You're sick, right? So if you want insurance, it's gonna cost you more than you could afford.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Freedom. Oh, it's good. It feels good to be free.
Yeah, so one of the Republican staffers, not a Democrat, a Republican staffer, said CBO, that's the budget office that's independent, nonpartisan, will come back and say the market will be destroyed by this plan and 45 million people will be left without insurance.
Yeah.
Well, look at that, you're free. You're so free, you don't even have insurance.
And what you have there with the 45 million is that they have this myth that right now Obamacare is in what they call a death spiral. Now the CBO report that came out evaluating the Senate healthcare plan said that it is not currently in a death spiral. That's simply not true. But this Ted Cruz plan, that is what it would set up. When you segment the market that way and necessarily drive up costs and drive people to plans that don't actually cover anything, which of course leads to more bankruptcies and premature deaths and all of that, you will kill the system. And of course, Ted Cruz wants the entire thing killed. So that's not like an unfortunate consequence that he didn't foresee. That is the end goal for Ted Cruz. And unfortunately, it looks like some Republicans might be behind this. Now, Americans are strongly supportive of requiring plans to cover everybody no matter their health. That's at 69% approval in a poll from November 2016. This directly goes against that. And at least one GOP aide who's involved in these issues says, I would say that if we voted on the Cruz proposal, it would be in the neighborhood of 37 to 15 against, 37 no votes and 15 yeses, and that's probably generous. But again, do not allow yourself to be disarmed. Those potential no's are worthless if they eventually turn into yeses, and that's why you can't let your guard down.
So, by the way, there's another poll that came out just last month. 77 say it's not important to cover people with pre-existing conditions. It's very important. 77% saying very important. They want you to cover people who have pre-existing conditions. Ted Cruz says no. So who are the people that don't want it covered? Well, it is Republican conservative groups like FreedomWorks and Club for Growth. What do they want? They want lower taxes on the rich. So Ted Cruz pretends to be this principled warrior. In reality, here, go to graphic 43. Let me show you who Ted Cruz actually is, okay? This is Ted Cruz. So the reason after saying that he wouldn't support Trump and saying that you should vote your conscience, even in the middle of the convention, he went up phone banking like, okay, I'll leave the words out, but you can see what he looks like there at the end, is because his donors told him, hey, Ted, who the hell do you think you work for? Go and phone bank for Trump, you loser, you pathetic failure. And he did, because he's not a principled person. All he does is carry water for the richest people in the country. So FreedomWorks and Club for Growth says your bill, Republicans, is not draconian enough. I need it to be even worse. Yeah. I don't care that 3/4 of Americans want you to cover people with pre-existing conditions. That doesn't give me enough tax cuts, so you will not cover it. Yeah. So right now, what they're doing is negotiating for an even more draconian bill, and I'm with John, don't bet against it. They will, at the end, if I know Republicans, they will all serve their donors. Help us build independent media together. Come join us, tytnetwork.com/join.